It was supposed to be just another press conference, a government spokesperson reading off a few policy changes. But by midnight, the Berlin Wall, one of the most iconic barriers of the Cold War, was gone.
As I understand it, it goes into effect immediately, without delay.
East Germany has announced that its borders are now open for everyone.
It didn't fall by force or decree, but by accident. This is the true story of how a single sentence, spoken without much thought, brought down a wall that had divided a city, a country, and the world for nearly 3 decades. To understand how it fell, you first need to understand why it was built. On August 13, 1961, East German soldiers rolled out barbed wire across the heart of Berlin. Overnight, the city was split in two. Families were separated, neighborhoods torn apart. That barbed wire soon became concrete. Watchtowers followed, guard dogs, a death strip. The Berlin Wall was never meant to keep people out. It was designed to keep East Germans in. From 1961 to 1989, more than 5,000 people risked everything to escape. Many died trying. This wall wasn't just stone and steel. It was fear made physical. It was the Iron Curtain built right down the middle of a city. But cracks were beginning to show, not in the wall, but in the system behind it. In the late 1980s, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev introduced reforms like glasnost, meaning openness, and perestroika, meaning restructuring. These changes sent ripples across Eastern Europe. In Hungary, the government opened its border with Austria, and East Germans began to escape through this new backdoor. Back home, protests erupted. In cities like Leipzig and Dresden, tens of thousands took to the streets demanding change. They marched peacefully, chanting, "We are the people." The East German regime was losing control. Still, no one thought the Berlin Wall would fall. Not yet. Then came November 9th, 1989. At 6:53 p.m., a routine press conference was underway in East Berlin. Government spokesman Günter Schabowski was handed a memo outlining new travel rules for East Germans. Flipping through his papers, he read it aloud. Private travel outside the country can be applied for without conditions. A journalist asked, "When does it take effect?" Schabowski hesitated. He didn't know. He hadn't been properly briefed. So he guessed and said the words that would change the course of history. "As far as I know, immediately." That sentence wasn't meant to be spoken. The policy was supposed to start the next day, with procedures and documentation in place. But it was already being broadcast live on television. People across East Berlin heard it, and they started heading for the border. By 10:30 p.m., thousands of East Berliners gathered at the Bornholmer Strasse checkpoint. Border guards were overwhelmed. They made phone calls, requested instructions, but no one could tell them what to do. The pressure kept building. And at 11:30 p.m., the officer in charge made a decision on his own. With no orders and no backup, he opened the gates. Crowds surged forward. Some ran. Some cried. Some just stood there, stunned. People climbed the wall, danced on top of it, broke off pieces to keep as souvenirs. After 28 years, Berlin was won again. The wall hadn't been destroyed. It had been rendered useless. As East Berliners poured into the West, they were met with open arms. Strangers embraced. Families reunited. People handed out flowers, champagne, and beer. The city erupted in celebration. There were no tanks, no violence, just joy. Within a year, Germany would be officially reunified. The Cold War would begin to thaw, and it all started with a simple, unscripted sentence. The Berlin Wall didn't fall because of a grand plan. It fell because people were ready, because the system was broken, and because one man said, "As far as I know, immediately." Sometimes history doesn't turn on battlefields. It turns in boardrooms, at microphones, in moments no one expects. The Berlin Wall stood for nearly 30 years. It fell in a single night, because the truth in the end was stronger than concrete. Are you ready for a joke? Why did the Berlin Wall go to the press conference? Because it wanted to hear the news, but ended up falling for it. Har har har.